Okay then, brand new tank. I have just aced the Su-76 GFT. I love that little thing. I decided to keep it. I aced it. I finished the grind. Loved it when it was finally upgraded. Put permanent camo paint on it. Stuck it in my garage. It's a permanent place. Just bought the 60 GFT. 60 GFT. So this is completely stock. My first game. You can see me admiring the tank here. I'm scrolling around looking at the tank thinking, okay, this looks like the 76G, maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah, the 60 GFT, I don't know anything about it, but oh, okay, alright, feels sluggish, very, very sluggish. Acceleration, oh, this is bloody awful. So this is fully stock, so stock engine, stock tracks, stock gun, but the stock gun is the same final gun on the 76 GFT, so it's bound to be pretty good, right? It's bound to be pretty good. It's very, very good on the Su-76G, so it's probably even better as a stock gun on the 60G. So, oh, hang on. Oh, shell velocity looks pretty bad. Okay, so this thing is huge. This thing is big. This thing is absolutely huge and big, and yeah, it feels like a heavy tank. It maneuvers like a heavy tank, accelerates like a heavy tank. KV-1 is back. So let's see what this bad boy can do. First game in the tank, and let's see what this bad boy can do, because first game of the tank, top tier, always top tier. Don't have Sixth Sense, so... Oh, orange reticule here. So we'll move up. Okay, KV-1 probably hasn't seen me, he's not looking at me, but... okay, we get a shot in. We've done 156 damage. Don't know if he's seen me. Oh. Oh. Alright. It may look like a heavy tank. It may drive like a heavy tank, but bloody hell, this thing has no armor. Hi folks, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the 60 GFT, the Tier 5 Chinese tank destroyer. And as you saw for the first game, it is definitely not the Tier 4. The Tier 4 was fast, it was maneuverable, it had a very dangerous gun, and even though they didn't look very good on paper, I actually ended up enjoying the tank so much I decided to keep it when it was finally upgraded, and camo it up and keep it in my garage forever. And I was expecting more of the same with the Tier 5 because it kind of looks similar. I loaded into the game, and my first game was completely stock. Stock engine, stock tracks, stock gun, but the stock gun is the final gun on the Tier 4, and the final gun on the Tier 4 is quite good. So I was expecting maybe more of the same, until I got into the game and I realized that this tank is much, much bigger. I didn't realize how much bigger at the time, but it is much, much bigger. This is bigger than a KV-1. This is bigger than, or well, it's as big as an IS. So I've been in games where I was beside those tanks and I was taller than them, and almost as long. So this is a huge tank destroyer, and I didn't realize that in the first game. So this is my second game. After dying in Ensk, I did a little bit of research, read about the stats of the tank very, very quickly, because it turned out to be not as good as my first impressions looking at it. And this is my second game in the tank, and still completely stock. So stock track, stock engine, and stock gun. Oh, and stock radio. So completely stock Tier 5 here, and we managed to get into a Tier 7 game here on Malinovka in my second game in the tank. But between my first and second games, I very, very quickly hit the web to find out what, well, the tank didn't feel fast, it didn't feel maneuverable, and yeah, the armor definitely didn't seem to be very good. So I actually, rather than going into the tank cold like I did in the first game, I actually did a little bit of research and tried to figure out what the tank was supposed to be good at and what it was bad at before playing this game. So that was about 5 minutes of work before hopping into the tank again to play this game. And what I discovered is someone at Wargaming has a very, very sick sense of humor. A very, very sick sense of humor, because they basically took the Tier 4 that was not, you know, amazing stock, but when you fully upgraded it, it turned into a fun little tank. They took everything that was good and fun about this tank, and then they destroyed it. with the 60 GFT. You know, they probably didn't want people having too much fun in the Tier 4, so they made the 60 GFT an absolute nightmare. This is a horrible, horrible tank, as I realized from looking at the stats. Now, initially, the firepower looks quite good. Again, this is the stock configuration, because that's how I played it in this game, but I will bring you another ace as soon as I play a game and ace it when it's fully upgraded. But what you can see is, like, okay, alright, the gun, even though it's the stock gun on the SU-76, or stock gun on the 60 GFT, it's the final gun on the 76 GFT, and it's got better DPM, a better rate of fire, better reload, and it carries slightly more ammo and can do more potential damage, so it's a good start. It's definitely an upgrade from Tier 4 to Tier 5, and then this happens. So they basically went, yeah, SU-76 GFT is probably too much fun to play, so you know what we're going to do? Even though the gun is the final gun on the SU-GFT, SU-76 GFT, we're going to make it worse. Even though it's the stock gun and it's the final gun on the Tier 4, we're going to make it worse on the Tier 5 than it is on the Tier 4. Look what they did to the aim time. They changed the aim time to 2.21, they changed the accuracy to 0.41, they changed the accuracy while moving a tank traverse to 0.27, they basically made everything worse, with the exception of maybe the speed of the gun arc, which is slightly, well, actually, hang on, that's slightly slower as well, 0.8 compared to 0.10. But, you know, so the gun handling is worse with the stock gun, the same stock gun on the 60G as the final gun on the 76 GFT. So they took all the joy out of using the gun, which was actually quite good. But they did give it 3 more degrees of gun depression, so, you know, you've got 8 degrees of gun depression, which isn't too bad, I was thinking, but then I remembered it's got 8 degrees of gun depression, but the thing's the size of a house. So in order to use your gun depression, you're exposing your whole tank, and that's not a good idea, because your tank has got absolutely no armor. Even though it's twice the size of the Tier 4, and it looks as if it's far more heavily armored, it's not. It gets, you know, same frontal armor of 25mm, which means HE will derp you constantly. It gets 5 extra millimeters of side armor and 10 extra millimeters of rear armor, but it's still absolutely garbage. So, you know, one of the things that made the SU-76 GFT, you know, less fun to play was the lack of armor, and now you're driving a tank that's twice as big, and the armor is basically as bad, and the gun handling is far, far worse. And it doesn't end there, because what made the, you know, 76 GFT fun to play was the power to weight ratio. It was quite fast, but no. We'll drop again. This is stock configuration, but let's make it slow. The power to weight ratio goes from 25 down to 13. You know, and not only that, but let's make the terrain resistance worse. So the power to weight ratio is worse, the terrain resistance is worse, the engine is slightly more powerful stock, but the tank weighs over twice as much. It's just, it's horrible. And again, terrain resistance while trying to turn the tank is worse on this tank than it is on the Tier 4. The armor is still garbage, and it gets 20 extra meters of view range. So yeah, they took everything that was fun and good about the SU-76 GFT and they removed it. And the only advantage you have from moving from Tier 4 to Tier 5 is basically slightly better gun depression. But you've got worse camo, bigger target, the armor is just as bad, the traverse on the tank is terrible, the acceleration is terrible, but you do have the same top speed even if you're never ever going to reach it. So they basically, yeah, they basically removed any possible fun you could have from playing the 76 GFT to playing the 60 GFT. I don't know. Someone in wargaming has an evil sense of humor. But anyway, let's get on with the history. And as the tank never existed, I have to rely on pretty much what Wargaming have given us, which is this is a project for a tank destroyer based on the Soviet ATT artillery tractor. And it was exported to many countries and repeatedly copied, so I assume it's a copy of the Soviet ATT artillery tractor by China. It says that the vehicle served as a basis for the development of a wide range of engineering and transportation vehicles. Well, yeah, the Soviet ATT did. It was minesweeper, trench digger, transport truck, troop transports, cargo truck. It had a lot of uses, but including artillery tractor, which was its original use. But essentially, the Chinese version of this tractor, it was planned to use the tractor as the basis for combat vehicles, but development did not go beyond proposed plans. So essentially what I imagine, that's basically what Wargaming gave us, but what I imagine is basically someone once upon a time, perhaps in China, we'll never know, we don't know, but they said, hey, you know those artillery tractors we're building? Yep, I know them. Okay, you know, maybe we could mount a gun on them. And someone else said, no, that's a stupid idea. And the first guy goes, okay, all right, that's it, fine. Because, as I say, the blurb for this tank says it was a proposal. There were no plans. So, you know, someone just came up with an idea of putting a gun on the artillery tractor. Now, there is a little bit of history regarding the artillery tractor itself, because the ATT was actually, even though I, to be honest, before starting to do this video, didn't know much about it, but it was based on the T-54 light tank, or T-54 medium tank. So the ATT artillery tractor was based on the drive system and chassis of a T-54, of course minus all the armor. So it meant that it was built between, you know, somewhere in the early 1950s, 1960s. So this is what it looks like in real life. Yeah, so not exactly small. It is quite a big artillery tractor. It had lots of different uses, and as I say, the drive system was based on the T-54. But, you know, someone came up with the idea of maybe mounting a gun on this, according to the Wargaming blurb. And yeah, it is not a small TD, and that's part of its biggest problem. But anyway, this is the ATT that this tank is supposedly based on. So as I say, first game was an absolute disaster. Second game is this one, but I've done a little bit of research and now I know that this is a complete glass cannon. I know that the maneuverability, particularly stock, is terrible. The acceleration is terrible. The camo rating is terrible. The armor is terrible. And the gun handling is terrible. In fact, there is nothing good about this tank in stock configuration whatsoever, other than the fact that the DPM is not bad, but the gun handling, aim time and accuracy are worse on this tank than they are on the Tier 4, even though it's the same flaming gun. So as I say, someone in Wargaming has a sick sense of humor. But we're going to go. We are here on a Tier 7 game, as I say, on Malinovka. So I'm bottom tier, but now I've learned my lesson. This is a game played about 5 minutes after the intro, and I've learned my lesson. I've realized that this is a typical TD, glass cannon TD, but without the benefits of most glass cannon TDs, in that it's got absolutely no flaming armor. A lot of glass cannon TDs, or no camo rating I should say, a lot of the glass cannon TDs have decent camo rating. A lot of them have no armor, but they have camo rating. For example, the IKB-90B right beside me. But no, this one has no camo rating. It's huge. It's bigger than an IS. It's bigger than a KB-1. I mean, this tank is bloody awful. But yeah, so now this is one of these games where I've got to play my TD like I don't like playing them. Playing it incredibly passively, playing it like a typical TD, although I'm not redline sniping, but pretty close to it. And, you know, I'm having problems penning the VK3601H, but we got one shot in, we track him, and getting a little bit of assistance damage, which is nice. Gonna keep him tracked, hopefully someone's going to take him out. You can see me looking for shots here. Okay, do a little bit more damage, take him out. No, Leopard. And even though the gun handling is absolutely awful, we managed to sneak that one into his turret. So Churchill 1 in the distance, and yeah, okay, we're hitting. So yeah, the accuracy is terrible, and the aim time is terrible, and the gun handling is terrible, but you know, we're actually landing some shots. Oh, did a little bit more damage there. Okay, so let's keep going. Alright, so we're up to 800 damage, 300 and something assistance damage, and we're doing okay. So, playing it as a glass cannon, playing it rather passively, but that's what you've got to do. You've got to do it. So, bouncing on the T-34-85. So, just to remind you guys, this is the final gun on the Tier 4. It is an 85mm. Didn't appreciate the OI experimental pushing me out of position here and ruining my camo rating, but anyway, we've got 128mm of penetration, 160 damage, which if we get side and rear shots, that can damage even Tier 7. So while the gun is actually quite good, it's very good as a final gun on the Tier 4, it's workable on the Tier 5, at least that's what I thought when I went into this, and then I bounce, and of course every time I praise a gun in this game, it always bounces. I don't know what that is, but yeah, we've got an OI experimental sitting in the camping spot sniping in his heavy tank, but I suppose, okay, he's a Tier 5 and a Tier 7 game, so can't really 100% blame him, but yeah, I can think of better things to do with an OI experimental than sit and snipe with it, but I guess his gun handling is only slightly worse than mine, as is in this particular tank, and I'm doing okay, so playing passively, the way I hate playing TDs, the way I hate seeing other players playing TDs, but sometimes the tank requires you to play like this, and you've got absolutely no choice. And I've already had my one and only game in this tank was a disaster, so I actually want to have a good game. Now, I wasn't even thinking about the ace at this stage, because as I say, the tank is completely flaming stock. And the accuracy is not there, even though we have been hitting a few shots. So just trying to move up, let my binocs kick in, and as I say, I'm aware that the camo rating is terrible. There are 2 RT on the enemy team, so again, no Sixth Sense, bad crew. They're 100%, but they're a bad crew. So just moving around. Maybe I got spotted, maybe I didn't. I don't know. But as I say, this thing is bloody huge, and it's got no camo rating. So anyway, we're moving up. See if we can do a little bit more damage. All right, nothing happening over here. So yeah, you've just got to play so patiently and hope your team doesn't collapse and leave you stranded. But one of the things you really do have to do in TDs is make sure that you're always in a position to do damage, you're always in a position to spot enemy tanks, and that you're always in a position to keep shooting. And most of the games I've been losing recently have, I'm going to be quite honest, a lot of the games I've been losing recently have been down to TD drivers who are sitting at the back of the map, who won't advance 50 meters, who won't advance 100 meters in order to get enemy tanks into their render range and still remain invisible and be able to shoot them, because they're in a nice position and they don't want to leave it, and they're waiting for all the tanks in front of them to die. You've really, you can be a little bit more aggressive even in a glass cannon. Oh, that's a nice blind shot in the IS. Let's go for another couple. Okay, T-3485 has just disappeared before we could get our gun around, but yeah, when you're playing a TD, even a glass cannon, there comes a time where basically if you're not getting shots, you're not doing damage, but you've got friendlies in front of you who need support, you've got to advance. You have to advance. So the score is 9-7, we are winning, but as you can see, the enemy team are slowly being pushed back, and T1 Heavy's running for it. So I don't really want to advance because there is a T-3485 down here in the corner. You can see me looking for him, but waiting for my binocs to kick in. And the IS is there. He's out of my render range, but maybe we can go for a couple of blind shots. I'm trying to figure... No, maybe not. Alright, now this is what I love. Look at the IKV-90B. He's not afraid. He's not sitting back on the red line. He's advanced. And I'm about to do the same, but I was playing a game on... what was it? Arctic. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I actually logged in to make some videos and ended up playing, but we had 3 TDs. And we fought our asses off to win that game, and in the end we only had 2 tanks, myself and 1 other tank. And we were both one-hit kills, and the enemy were camping in the corner, and we couldn't go in, and we had 3 TDs. 2 Swedish TDs, and the the new French Tier 8 Premium TD. They were all still sitting in our spawn while we were in the enemy spawn, and they were all still on full health, just sitting there. And we ended up having to spend maybe 2 minutes shouting at them in chat to come forward, take a hit, because they were quite willing to sit there till the end of the game for everyone to die. It's just, you've got to be a little bit more aggressive, move forward. As you see, that's what I'm doing here. Going for a couple of blind shots on the T-3485, but he's outside of my render range, so 90B has moved up. I'm going to move up and support him, but the enemy team have all retreated back into the corner, and now it's time to move up. But in a glass cannon like this, with 2 RT in play and no camo rating, I really don't want to get spotted. So we're just going to go up, and we're going to continue to play a little bit passively, because, as I say, I'm a one-hit kill for a lot of the tanks I'm facing. But okay, we've got 1 shot into the T-3485, the T1 Heavy goes down, going to advance, see if we can spot this guy. I probably have been spotted, but even my 8 degrees of gun depression is struggling, and yeah, I couldn't, the tank is so tall. Even with 8 degrees of gun depression, you've got to expose so much of your tank, so I risked a shot in this turret, probably wouldn't have penned, didn't pen, and I fell back before he could take a shot back. But in the meantime, T-3485 is taking fire. The IKV-90B is on 5 kills. He's done a good job. I've dropped off radar, so I'm going to move up, see if we can spot anyone with our binocs, see if we can get into a position to do damage. So, there we go. He goes down. And now it's just a matter of waiting for tanks to move in. And with only 400 hit points, which is actually okay. That is okay for a tier 5 TD, but it's not okay when so many tanks are using HE or derp guns and they can one-hit kill you. But anyway, the IKV-90B has twice my hit points. He's moving in. We get a one-shot in on the M41 HMC, and the Scorpion kills one of our arty. Okay, Scorpion's there, but he's in cover, as I'm about to find out. Okay, so our 90B is taking on their artillery. No shots on the SU-8. I'm gonna go in. I've got no shots, so relocate. If you've got no shots, relocate. I maybe should have relocated before now, but 90B has taken out the Scorpion. He's on low health, or taken out the other arty. Now I've got to aim time after moving the hull. That shot goes high. 90B's gonna go down, isn't he? I can't save him. Can't save him. We get one shot into the Scorpion. He's down to 390, so he's a 2-hit kill. Don't get the other shot in, but alright, 90B did his job. He went in, killed 2 arty. Maybe I could have gone with him. Maybe I could have been more aggressive, but it's only my second game of the tank, and it's bloody awful. I know how bad it is, but we're advancing. I've got RT support from the Bishop, and our Skoda T25 is capping. So T25, I don't know why he's capping. He should have moved up to help us as well, but yeah, that was probably a bad shot by me, but again, I don't know. My camo rating's terrible. We put one shot in. He misses because he's panicking. We go for a blind shot. Don't know if that went in, but he's knocking down bushes, knocking down trees. He's got camo rating. I don't. I'm in the open, and I'm in trouble now, so I'm going to try and get down behind the T1 Heavy, hoping our RT can fire some shots into those bushes and take him out, but okay, looks like my blind shot did hit. He's on 70 health, so we're going to move forward. I'm auto-aiming and going to use my 8 degrees of gun depression. I shoot him, and there we go. So yeah, second game in the, what is it, the 60 GFT. Yeah, it's not a fun tank to play, particularly not stock. So when this popped up, I was conflicted, because once again, it's an ace in a tank, and I've got to bring it to you, but it also happens to be a completely stock tank, and I know some of you guys don't like me bringing you videos with stock tanks, because I can't talk about how the tank performs when it's fully upgraded. So it means that it's yet another one of these tanks I'm going to have to do another video for when I fully upgrade it, when I get the final engine, final radio, final tracks, and final gun. I'll do another video when I ace it when it's fully upgraded, so that I can give you a better rundown of how it plays in game, but I can tell you that stock, it is bloody awful, and it's a huge joke on someone's part by Wargaming to introduce this tank so badly after the tier 4 was so good, and I don't understand why the gun handling and the gun are so bad on this when it's a tier higher. It should be better. It's a stock gun, I know, but it should be better, or at least as good gun handling as the tier 4, but it's not. It's so much worse. So yeah, take the tier 4, make it twice as big, give it worse camo, make it more sluggish, give it worse traverse, and give it worse gun handling with the stock gun. And yeah, as I say, remove all its camo rating, and that's what you have. You've got a badly armored, huge target that's sluggish, and it's not a lot of fun to play. Now, I will say that the gun depression is nice compared to the tier 4, and the hit points, a lot more hit points than the tier 4, and the DPM, you get more DPM than the tier 4, but the accuracy and aim time is worse, so yeah, it kind of evens out that way. But yeah, I will bring you another ace in this as soon as I've fully upgraded. Well, I actually have fully upgraded it, but I haven't played too many games in it fully upgraded at this stage, so I haven't aced it since fully upgrading it. But anyway, yeah, ace in the second game. We finished second on XP. As I say, that 90B had a good game, playing aggressively. I liked what he did. So we've got 977 XP was enough to ace the tank with 2,175 damage done and just the one kill. Pity he died. Maybe he could have got a Radley Walters out of it if he'd gotten that final kill. But anyway, yeah, as I say, tier 5, tier 7 game. So happy with the damage, happy with the XP. 38 shots fired, only 23 hits, and of the 23 hits, only 14 pens. So the accuracy and shell velocity and aim time and everything else is so much worse on this than they are on the tier 4. The gun handling makes a huge difference. So I was bouncing a lot of shots, missing a lot of shots at distance. Most of our damage was done from a distance of more than 300 meters, which is the way you've got to play this tank and the way I hate playing TDs. Spotted 1, damaged 7, destroyed 1, did 386 assistance damage because basically I was shooting tanks that other tanks were spotting, and finished up with 20,000 credits, and it was my second game in the tank, so not my first game. First game you got to see on Ensk, I died, so it was my first, let's just say, victory in the tank. Yeah, it's an artillery tractor, supposedly, that had a gun, supposedly, proposed to be mounted on it. And yeah, it never existed, and it doesn't even say whether or not it was on plans. It just says it was a proposal. And, you know, I've got a proposal. Let's take a Volkswagen Beetle or something and mount a gun on it. There's a proposal, and maybe Wargaming will listen to that and put a tank in game. You know, so I really don't know what the historical accuracy is here, other than the fact it was based on the ATT. But anyway, that's it. You know, I am working on a review at the moment. I'm just struggling to find time to finish it, but hopefully there's going to be another Is It Worth It coming up on the channel very, very soon. Once again, I want to thank you guys for all your support. It is lovely playing brand new tanks with a 100% crew, which I can do now thanks to your donation. So thank you once again. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Alrighty, first game in the 60GFT. First game in the 60GFT with it fully upgraded. Got the final engine, got the final tracks, got the final radio, and it's my first game with the final gun. So let's see what this bad boy is like. It is 145mm of penetration, 180 damage, and the DPM is a lot higher. So gun seems to be a lot better, and yeah, maneuverability is a little bit better. I won't say it's great, but it's a little bit better. Oh, stuck 3G. Yes, okay. First game, fully upgraded tank, and we bounce. Bad shot, we hit his gun mantlet, and he's getting out of there. Okay, alrighty. Alright, so we're just gonna set up here. We're gonna let our binocs kick in. I've got no armor, I've got no camo rating, but I have quite a big tall tank, so that means that basically... Oh, what's this? No, we missed him! We missed him, and he's aiming, and we bounced, and bloody hell, I got derped again. Yeah, I hate this piece of